Hi, I'm Ryan Szymanski, curator for Battleship New Jersey Museum and Memorial. Recently, there's been a lot of memes going around Facebook talking about how civilians have issues uh, entertaining themselves during the quarantine, but the military is already very familiar with this, especially sailors. It has been said that being on a ship is like being in prison with the added possibility of drowning. So obviously, sailors are in the same situation that most of us are in now, and that they cannot leave, go anywhere, do anything, or even be alone. So what do they do to entertain themselves? On Battleship New Jersey, throughout her career, there were a number of things. For one, the ship had a large library maintained by the ship's chaplain. Check a link down in the description to see a previous video we shot on the ship's library. There would have been approximately 4,000 books in there. Either sometimes they're donated by uh, various support groups, like groups within the state of New Jersey would donate things to the ship on occasion. Sometimes they're bought from the ship's morale fund, which is money that's taken out of sailors' paychecks or donated to the morale fund to buy entertainment-related things like that. But you can always check books out of the library. By the same token, you can always study for professional development or uh, job advancement. There are a number of ratings training manuals that you can check out around the ship. The ship also had a TV studio in the 80s, which would both show pre-recorded content like movies, usually 2 a day, or uh, stuff recorded on board. And we've got a video about the TV studio linked down in the description as well. The TV studio could also show professional development videos and training stuff. Prior to the ship having a TV studio, during the Vietnam Commission, sailors brought in their own television sets and set them up with various antennas to get stuff. And prior to that, the ship had a movie projector that could be brought out on the mess decks or on the fantail to show some of the movies that were kept on board. And these movies would be swapped with other ships periodically, so you would get new content. Sailors would also communicate with home in their free time. On board modern ships, their way to call home. On the Battleship New Jersey, for most of her career, it involved letter writing, and the ship has its own post office and even post office boxes around the ship so that you can mail letters out, and there would be a mail call when new mail was received. Typically, either a helicopter or another ship would have to bring it out. Another way that you could communicate with home, some members of the ship's crew were ham radio operators and could patch in their ham radio equipment in a radio to telephone call, and this could often be used in an emergency to call home. Working out and sports were other things that sailors could do on board in their free time. By the 1980s, there were a number of gyms on board. There were probably some earlier than that, but we definitely know about them in the 1980s. For example, an old magazine was converted into a gym up in the superstructure. The ship's original brig was converted into a gym at one point. So different divisions may have had their own gyms. There was definitely one for sailors and one for Marines on board. So this would have had all sorts of weightlifting equipment and that sort of stuff. If you run around the main deck of the ship 5 times, you've run a mile. So that is an option for those of you who like to run. And also the ship fielded a number of sports teams that primarily competed off of the ship when she was in port, but could have practiced while they were on board. So some of the different sports teams the ship had, volleyball, bowling, football, boxing was a big one that took place on the ship. basketball, Iowa had a basketball hoop set up. Some of the other Iowa class ships may have as well. Baseball teams were common. We know sailors used the boat decks often to throw football around to practice for that. The ship even had an athletics gear locker on board where stuff like that could be stored when it wasn't being used. Thanks for watching today. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and we'll do our best to get back to you. And if you would like to support us creating content or the museum's mission, there's a link in the description with how you can donate to us. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.